Well, the rising cost of living continues to be a concern. Some people say they're struggling to put food on the table. Labour Federation Cosatu and its affiliates are staging a national day of action today across the country, calling on the government to address the issues faced by the working class, which include unemployment, power cuts and the ailing economy. Our reporters Leti Wimdluli and Moloko Moloto are following the developing story for us. Moloko, good morning to you as well as Leti. Where we start with Moloko. What can you tell us where you stand?
What you are saying? Our car is at the back of the crowd. Yeah,
Letiwe, good morning to you. What can you tell us from where you stand?
Well, Dumelo, at the moment, the march here in Durban hasn't started, but we are expecting for it to get underway shortly. I want to show you the turnout that we have here in Durban. It's not that great, but we are told that more members are going to be joining in. We do understand that Cosatu and its affiliates will be marching from King Dinizulu Park here in Durban all the way to City Hall, where they'll hand over their memorandum of grievances. There is a huge amount of police presence here, and we have seen the police getting ready. But right now I'm joined by Gerald Twala, who's the Deputy General Secretary of Cosatu. I want to bring him in so he can share why they are marching today. Mr. Twala, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Take us through some of your grievances.
Well, today we are in the province of KwaZulu-Natal in Durban as part of the nationwide socio-economic strike by Cosatu. Basically, our strike today is about the situation facing the workers and the working class in South Africa in terms of the socio-economic conditions, the issue of unemployment, which has reached levels which are a concern to us as Cosatu, the crisis of energy in our country, and many of the socio-economic challenges that are faced by ordinary South Africans.
You know, right now you are in KwaZulu-Natal, one of the leading provinces with a high number of crime. The rate of crime in this province is alarming. We are seeing mass shootings, political killings. What exactly is your standing as unions? Because, I mean, one of the things that you're marching against is the high crime levels in this country.
Well, for the past years, if you would have realized each and every action or protest that we embark upon as Cosatu would have included issue of the fight against crime and corruption in our country. It's one of the most important programs and campaigns of Cosatu. That is why even today here, one of the issues that we are going to be raising is the speedy implementation of the recommendations of the Zondo Commission. Because from that Zondo Commission, there have been quite a lot of issues that came out as a result of state capture that relates to deliberate weakening of state institutions to fight crime and corruption. So basically, indeed, we are here and the issue of crime and corruption is part of what we are going to be raising.
You know, you've marched quite a few times as Cosatu, just basically raising these issues. Do you think you're getting any responses from government? Are they hearing what you're saying? What are you talking about when you meet with the government officials?
Well, you'll realize that it's in our character as Cosatu to march whenever there are grievances of workers. And we can assure you that from all the marches that we held, after that, there would have been some kind of movement on the part of employers and government in trying to come closer to what workers want in South Africa. But we obviously remain very concerned about the state of the economy. We think the macroeconomic policy that our government is implementing does not actually address the immediate challenges of the triple crisis of poverty, inequality and unemployment in South Africa. That is why there is a planned economic and energy summit that is planned for the alliance led by the African National Congress, where we are going to be frank with the African National Congress and remind them that, by the way, we never agreed with the economic chapter of the National Development Plan.
You are an alliance of the ANC, and you are calling against these things. You've been having talks with them. You've been holding marches. Are you happy with what the government is providing to the people? I mean, the working class are struggling. Inflation is high, and like you said, unemployment is high as well. As an affiliate of the ANC, are you happy with what you're seeing?
There is understandably irritations and on the ground. Workers are unhappy against government, and that is why you see us here today. And generally, just tracing back to our 4th International Congress, you would have followed what has been the discussion, particularly on the state of the alliance, the fact that we think this alliance must be reconfigured so that it reflects the current material conditions facing the country. The fact that workers today are unhappy about government, it tells you a lot about the government and its policies.
How many days are you giving the government to respond? I'm sure you're going to be handing in your memorandum at the Durban City Hall. Who are you handing it to, and how many days are you giving them?
Well, we'll be handing over memorandums to the Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, to the Executive Mayor of Thekwini Municipality, to ESCOM, to the Reserve Bank, and also to Transnet, because we've got issues that we want to raise with those institutions, and we are giving them 14 days to respond to our memorandums.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Dumelo, they are giving them 14 days to respond. Of course, the march hasn't started, but by the looks of things, they are getting ready to start, and we will be talking to more affiliates of Cosatu. We have seen members of SACTU and also Denosa arriving, so we will be speaking to them about some of their grievances as well. I mean, Denosa represents nurses, and we have been covering a lot of healthcare workers who are calling for the government to hire more people within the health sector. There's a lot of grievances that health workers are raising, so we will be talking to them as well, just finding out some of their grievances and what they want exactly from government.
All right, well, Litwa, this way we'll leave it, as of course that march continues out in KwaZulu-Natal. We could see there definitely the program having started, the address to those marching and protesting currently taking place out in KwaZulu-Natal. Muloko, how's it looking from where you stand?
Hello. Well, the march in Johannesburg has just commenced. They have just left the headquarters of Cosatu here in Braamfontein. But let's speak to Amos Munyela. He is the chairperson of Cosatu in the Gauteng province. Sir, thank you so much for your time. This is not the first march that you as Cosatu are holding. What's the point really of continuing with marches when the government that you are part of in terms of alliance isn't implementing all these issues you have been raising for years?
Well, I know you're going to ask a question as related to the alliance. We are an independent ally of the alliance, but then we can tell you the things that this marches has achieved, because this marches are marches that tells government to wake up and implement what they promised the people of this country and the people of this province. So currently, the current situation is the cost of living in our country is too high, and it is exacerbated by the high interest rates that the governor of the Reserve Bank or the Reserve Bank is announcing month after month in order to cushion their policy of inflation targeting, thus hurting the working class in general and workers. So that's what is happening. The unemployment is high in our country. You know that is 44% by extended definition, and in our province it's 34% and 39% by expanded definition. So we consistently engage with government on these things, on a number of issues, and propose a number of policy directions, which government currently is implementing those policy directions in a subtle way. They don't even tell anybody that, you know, some of these things we got them from Cosatu. In fact, if the president of the country would have implemented the proposed Cosatu ESCOM compact, will be far in terms of keeping the what we call load shedding in our country.
But if you are in an alliance with the governing party, one would assume that you do sit down with them, you put your point across. What prompts you to go to the streets? If you can talk to these people, does it mean they are not listening to you?
Well, there are areas where we are listening to, there are areas where they are not implementing. So we can even explain to you, in Gauteng, for example. So the Premier is listening to us, the ANC is listening to us. We've demanded jobs on a monthly basis. 6,000 youth, young people are employed in the province. Currently, we've got 18,000 young people employed in our province. 6,000 will be employed. 6,000 will be employed this month. 8,000 is in the process of being employed.
But those jobs, somebody would argue, were not created. They were there, not filled. Somebody would argue that create new jobs which will be able at least to be sustainable.
The 18,000 jobs I'm talking about are new jobs. Have you ever seen wardens in any other province except for the province of Gauteng? Have you ever seen people cleaning? Those people who have been appointed by the province of Gauteng. Those are new jobs. Have you ever seen any other job in the organogram of State Department that speaks to learnerships who are working on solar installation? Have you ever seen jobs where people are now going to patch up the potholes? Those are new jobs. We're talking about those new jobs through internship programs, through learnership programs, through employment. So those are the things that we're engaging. We're not saying they're enough. We're not saying they're decent jobs. But then there are jobs on the tables as a result of our engagement with government throughout, as our engagement with our alliance partners. We appreciate that it is not something big. It is a smaller thing that has been created, but then it makes a difference in the unemployment rate that we're having. I can tell you that we engage with our alliance partners on the e-tolls. Where are the e-tolls today? It is because of those engagement, and they can go and announce publicly. We have been campaigning for the state pharmaceutical company. To date, those things, our engagement are beginning to bear fruits, but this is necessary so that we can alert everyone else that we need to have this kind of actions in order for us to be able to move forward.
I need to speak. Thank you, Amos Munyela, chairperson of Cosatu in Gauteng. I need to quickly engage the second deputy president of Cosatu, Duncan Luvuno. Sir, as Cosatu, the SACP, you always talk of a reconfigured alliance. Specifically, what are you unhappy with?
Well, maybe, to be honest with you, I think it anchors on the issue that we need to be treated as equals. What that necessarily means, it means that if we are equals and treating each other as equals, we know where these people that are deployed in government, where today account. If we can have that what right, then we'll be fine.
Now, in terms of you being able to assert your influence on the policy of government, how far, if you were to measure your influence, do you think you go?
Well, we can say that it's not 100%, but however, there are a lot of strides that we are making. As the provincial chair has said, we're having 350 now that has been paid to people. It came from the initiative of Cosatu. As he has said, even the issue of e-tolls, as much as we were consistent, these issues are able to be won, but we need to be consistent in fighting these issues. And again, the NHI, the very same thing that we are saying, that they're poor and the working class. We can't afford medical aids. We can't afford to go to hospitals. Hence, it is the fight, consistent fight by Cosatu. However, it's unfortunate that the media, they decide to look at the other issues. We're always at the forefront of fighting these ills. However, we're saying it's not enough. We need to fight corruption, which is continuing to rob us of the money that should be directed to service delivery. But to do that, we need to see the commission of Uzondo to be implemented. Once we implement that, these criminals will be afraid. We must show example with them and show that indeed we want to find this corruption.
There has always been threats made from the particularly SACP that they are exploring possibilities of contesting the elections as a stand-alone party, hoping that they will rely on the support of the workers. Are these threats ever going to materialize?
I wouldn't say those are threats. There are ongoing questions, ongoing things that we're not agreeing in alliance. However, it doesn't take away the platform. It doesn't take away that we are engaging. is a continuous engagement. There will never be a time whereby we're happy with everything. But however, we must not close the door of dialogue, the door of engagement. I think it's natural because if all of us are thinking alike, then it means no one is thinking. Hence, we need to be having these contradictions and be able to manage these contradictions as we did previously when we were fighting the apartheid regime. We'll be able to find space and engage each other until we find one another.
It's well known, Duncan, that you are unhappy with the manner in which the Reserve Bank, the central bank, carries its work. You don't believe that the monetary policy that it follows, which you argue focuses mainly on managing the inflation. You also say it must be able to create jobs. How do you think it is possible that from the fiscal policy's point of view, which is being controlled from government's point of view, it is not aligned in terms of perhaps what you would expect with the monetary policy?
Well, the monetary policy, it anchors mainly on this inflation targeting. The inflation targeting, as you know, from 7.25 to 7.75, this 15-point basis that has increased it charges on the working class and the poor. Because what that does mean, it means that petrol will be high, food will be high, everything will be high. Who must cough more? It's ourselves, workers and the poor. Why the cold face of that? So we're saying it's not assisting. It's not talking to us as young people as much as they want to stimulate the economy. Because we need to check. That can be done if the economy predominantly is growing. Our economy has not been growing for some time now.
Yeah, but the point as we conclude is that you have the Minister of Finance, who is the employee of the ANC, your alliance partner, and all those things you complain about are happening under their watch.
Indeed, I think maybe let me take you back. Equally on the issue of e-tolls, the minister who was there was a employee from the ANC, our ANC which were in alliance. It doesn't mean that we must not challenge and talk to them. ANC is a broad church, as they say it. There are different people in the ANC. When ourselves as a working class, we must continue as our class to fight our issues, regardless that we are in the alliance.
Why don't you move out?
No, we cannot just move out. The history of the alliance, it goes deeper than just moving out. And we know that maybe deliberately, the people they are always telling us that we must move out, move out. You can't just move out without talking, without engaging. And the media is always pushing that narrative. No, we can't be told by the media. The media didn't tell us that we must go to alliance. Hence ourselves will wait and see. There are issues that we are agreeing, there are issues we are not agreeing. But there are more issues that we are agreeing than issues that we don't agree. Why want to move out? It doesn't work like that.
Duncan Luvuno, thank you so much. He is the second deputy president of Cosatu, leading this march taking place in Gauteng.
All right, let's move to eNCA senior reporter Aisha Ismail. Aisha, from where you stand, though, has the march started?
Well, the march has started and hundreds of people have now marched and gathered outside the provincial parliament here in Wales Street. And what the speakers are saying is that the provincial government as well as the national parliament, the national government, they do not have the interests of the working class people at heart. And it is for this reason that they decided to bring their march and their demonstration to the doorstep of the provincial legislature. You can see hundreds of people, hundreds of workers have gathered here. Now, as I said earlier, this is a protected strike. This is also a strike where those who decided to stay away today to participate in the protest will not be paid. And some of the people that I spoke to when I asked them if they were expecting more people to gather here today, they said, of course, they would have hoped that thousands of workers would come out today, but they also understand that people cannot afford to lose a day's salary. The strike is about poverty. The strike is about the ailing economy. It's about low wages. And what they're saying is they want government as well as the provincial government to create more jobs for people. They're saying that people can hardly afford to pay or to meet their monthly financial obligations. They're also talking about load shedding and how load shedding has resulted in thousands of people losing their jobs. Now, they're also saying the fact that Cosatu is in an alliance with the ruling party does not mean that they cannot strike and raise their concerns about corruption, about the fact that government is moving very slowly in creating more jobs, and especially they say their concern is for the working class of South Africa. The other thing that they're also saying is that the provincial government is not a government for the poor people here in the Western Cape, but what they're going to be doing very soon is to march to the National Parliament, where they will be handing over a memorandum. And when I spoke to the Secretary of the Western Cape Cosatu earlier today, Melvin de Bruyn, he was saying they are giving government 14 days to respond to their demands, and he also says that if their demands are not met, this could result in rolling mass action for the rest of this year.
All right, Aisha, that's where we'll leave it, of course, as we can hear that the address to the members has commenced from where you stand. It seems the case with KZN as well as Russia in Gauteng. As that march continues, we'll keep you updated right here on eNCA.